All right, here we go again. So the narco money finds its way places based upon several mechanisms. One being the organized crime and racketeering model. Organized crime and racketeering entities attempt to make their money the only good money in a community if they can, which means, they strong arm and all those other things also. So what they're doing is they're knocking out legitimate businesses or buying up legitimate businesses to launder, that type of thing. So also, narcos buy houses, narco money buys houses, buys cars. Right? The more corrupt a community, the more corrupt a nation, the more likely that it's infiltrated, institutions and, dirty cops, dirty politicians, that kind of thing. Well, it's going to crash. Just telling you, it's going to crash. So that's why God released the idea that we can invest the money, government money. This idea that it's socialism or something like that, it's like ludicrous. Trump's already started it with the sovereign fund. So everybody needs to get a sovereign fund. Just don't be dishonest about it. Use it for, again, there's nothing anti-capitalist about feeding people, about housing people, about giving people medical care. But, capitalists will say we can only afford it when we afford it, and that's true. Right. But again, through these programs. So that's the future of all nations. This idea where it's socialism or communism. I mean, as long as you're giving back to the people, it doesn't matter. And again, you're not stifling capitalism and free enterprise. That's the key. You're actually encouraging it because you want more money to invest. All right. Now, as far as taxes, maybe eventually you'll be able to do away with taxes. Trump's going to try that now. Or soon, I guess. Maybe not. I don't know if we have enough to do that, but well, again, what you're going to do is the same thing I said about universal health care in the beginning when we were thinking about it. What you have to do is you have to start smaller than your goal. Again, once you reach your goal, then you create another goal. So what you're going to do is what we usually kind of do. We're going to go from the bottom up. We're going to start, you can give people tax breaks, which I think you already did. I don't know if it's real or imagined at this point, but we'll see when I file my taxes this year. Right. But essentially, you'll start erasing taxes from people with a little bit more money. And eventually, the idea is to erase all taxes. I don't think it's kind of a reach to just all of a sudden say no more taxes. But you can say something like everybody up to $75,000 or $50,000, whatever you decide. I think now, people under probably 25, 30,000, I don't know where it is, probably don't pay any taxes. Right. So again, that's just a minor adjustment. And I don't think that's the way to do it, because again, it's the same thing with the tariffs, too much too soon. I know you're in a hurry because of all the, the break in government, in the administration, not a solid 8 years. But you may have actually, it may have been good to get that break because you have more time to figure things out. No, I think that theoretically, if we crash into the narco empires, there's going to be a lot of businesses going under. Some of them are just laundering businesses. Right. For all we know, that's all Silicon Valley really is. A bunch of money launderers. Right. So what we need to do is we need rainy day funds. And there's no reason that governments spend money. That it's just like what's going on in the world. Again, I live almost paycheck to paycheck, but governments spend money, and if they didn't spend so much and actually invested some, again, if we thought of investment 20 years ago, we'd be amazing. I think Saudi Arabia invests money and gives their people money. Now they're oil producers, so but again, I think our GDP bigger than theirs, or they're bigger than ours? I mean, no, I think every nation needs to be aware that if we continue, and that's why a lot of people are fighting it. That's where they made their money. That's where they made their power from the narcos. You know, politicians like getting money from narcos because it's just as green as everybody else's. Maybe even greener if they, hey, if you need something, boss, let us know. We'll take care of it. And then a bunch of people go visit somebody. Right. Well, part of Trump doesn't like. I mean, his administration is not going to like to talk about it. But part of why our economy shrinking right now is because we're putting people out that we're part of the economy, but a lot of that was narcotic economy, money laundering economy. That's why I told him in New Mexico when he got in office, he was like, "Yeah, I got an office, and New Mexico's doing great." Now it wasn't. It was all they just increased the money laundering. I figured if they gave you credit for it, nobody would bother them. Right now, about 6 months prior, no, actually, was it 6 months? No, it was about the same time actually. I had to get my car towed, and the guy told me, he said, all these businesses here, they're all money laundering businesses. They don't make any other money. He goes, this whole city is pretty much Laundryville. So again, I got the inside while they were blowing smoke up the administration's derriere. So again, it's a bold move. I mean, we're gonna screw up some money, but you have to. Yeah, it should have never happened. That's the problem. Right. If it never happened, then we wouldn't have to do this. Right. No, there is an economy. They're trying to say, well, without us, there's money. You effed it up. Right. And the idea of all the money we spend medically and law enforcement because of narcotics, and some of these people that are sitting there using that drugs, they're brilliant. They would be brilliant without the drugs. They're like they're our people. Like they go, oh, well, we need H-1B because Americans are stupid. No, Americans are addicted to narcotics, and that's a complicated process, which includes too many of the H-1Bers coming in here and boosting our people and effing our people off. And of course, when it comes to Central America, a lot of that is narcotic money. Right. Power is a funny thing. There's a specific equation. Right. And foreign spy organizations, they're going to boost their people in the United States. Modi and his people, they're ruthless. They're nobody's buddy. That's why you see them hanging out in the dark side every so often. Right. No, their spies will kill our power people until their people get a cut of something. Right. Or not even power people, our good people, Right. No, some of our people were killed by Indian intelligence. There's no doubt. Right. They play that game. That's why you see Modi hanging out with the dark side. They've always been dark. No, Indians took over the United States not by accident. That was by spycraft activity. India was on a computer watching everybody, moving their people into place. And moving our people out of place. Meanwhile, our CIA was being manipulated by the same people to allow it to happen. Because they would be the big American. But then the American genius disappeared. Can't even work as a stupid deputy. Right. Because they all corrupt. Pretty much it. Right. Now we get this I'm cooking here. I didn't turn the fan on. Get this going here. That's a curse that happens, actually. I knew the curses were up. I was able to back them down. Right. Then I went outside. They started cursing me right away. Maybe a general curse. I don't know if they have cameras or not. But I could tell that the curses picked up when I stepped outside. Oh, come on. You know, it doesn't cost you nothing to install a covert camera. Right? Mm-hmm. 100%. Devils love surveillance because they get to curse everybody. You know, evil eye gets them off. You all run after shift, get drunk, and have sex. Right. So Narcos infiltrated a lot of police departments, a lot of internal affairs, even, and everything else. So, right. Now there's tons of cops up in New York still dealing dope, I'm sure. Thanks, Larry. Nah, it's a scam. They only arrest so many people, and then they go, "We took care of it. We took care of the problem." So what they'll do is the people they arrest sometimes are fall people, like they wouldn't be involved in whatever it is, right? Because they, you have to deliver. Oh, we have internal affairs fires and stuff, but it was all like a setup. The person wouldn't have committed any of the egregious actions without internal affairs actually moving with corrupt cops to put them out because they didn't want them around. Not only New York, though. Well, but it's just okay. It's just a given. There's no way to do what they do with narcotics without cops being dirty. There's just no way. Like if you look at what's his name does. What's that guy's name? Who's Border Patrol guy? Uh, Mike. Mike. So Mike has a mighty operation, right? How the hell are they even doing anything? Because dirty cops. It's the only way to do it. Right. Well, inside, that's what we talk about sometimes. Like, how the hell are they doing it? The only way is dirty cops. That's it. There's no other way. And then that's not an easy thing to breach, Well, because the politicians are in on it too. So I guess Mike Kelly's fundraising off of the Dastardly Six. No, I mean, you look at all those operations. That's why we're going overseas at this point to cut it off there because we can't. We're not. For some reason, we can't do it here. For some reason, we can't get enough honest cops to do it. Right. In the right places. 100%. So we'll cut the money off, and then the cops won't be paid, and and then there won't be as much power in private sector wherever, because the narco money will disappear, and then other people's money will be, again, you could be a millionaire. It doesn't mean anything today. You have to be at least a large multimillionaire to have any real level of influence. Right. No, India's not who they're supposed to be. So like I said, that Five Eyes thing, I don't know if they're still doing it, but the spies will use the other four eyes to take out one of their citizens. So if you don't like a citizen in your community and you want to take him out, or another government employee, use the other four eyes to destroy that person. That's what they do in intelligence, corrupt intelligence. Right. So I didn't go after any American citizens, but they put all the other spy agencies up to it. Now there's a real mechanism like that for, certain purpose, but they're using it for self-gaining corruption. So you just call up the other four eyes, have them destroy an American, and say you don't have anything to do with it. Because when you traveled over to their country and there was you don't think there's no recording device or anything, no phone calls, no messaging, just hey, here's a list of people, take them out. There'll be a little something extra in your CIA account. Right. What do you think Tennant and Comey and Mueller and all? You think they're heroes? They're crap. Betrayed us totally and absolutely. Throw this away. Throw this away. So financially, we need to get somewhere as far as government investments. Well, you need. Okay, so Elon's partially right, but it's not what's going to save us. You need the next big thing to make money. Like when the internet came on, when the cell phones, smartphones got big, all that kind of stuff. That gave us the next big thing. We're kind of a little bit dry on the next big thing, right? And have been. So theoretically, robotics and AI is going to be the next big thing, but I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be. Again, the sovereign fund is the only thing that, in the long run, is going to save us. And we should have figured it out before this. We've been confused and effed off and all that stuff. Right. Thank you, Larry. Now, the whole time, that was all it was, the sovereign fund. That's all we needed, an investable sovereign fund. We're going to have to get into stocks, bonds, crypto. It's just stupid not to. I have no idea why we didn't do it. Could have made money with Microsoft. It could have made money on IBM. Apple, and then crypto. It's a stupid rule. It makes no freaking sense. You have to feed people. You have to feed some people. You have to clothe some people. You need money for this $1 million bomb, that $10 million missile. That's the way you do it, right? To say it's like, oh, that's socialism or that's illegal. That's bullshit. It's not illegal, not by a long stretch. It's actually mandated. So if they sue you, which I don't know why they would, but let's say they sue you in federal court. All you have to do is pull up the Constitution and say, this is the only way that we can fulfill our requirements in the Constitution. It's the only way. The only way to provide for a strong defense. It's the only way to provide for the general welfare. Now, what's going on now is actually probably borderline illegal, borrowing that much money in the people's name. Right. Now, a lot of that was corruption, obviously. So what you're essentially going to do, you're going to now invest the money in the people's name. Right. And then, that's appropriate. Well, yeah, and one day you'll just be able to pay. You could actually pay somebody a salary. Here's some starter money at 18, 20 grand a year. But again, if we don't beat the narco model, the narco empire and the model that they got going out there to take over everything, we're going to have to give people vouchers. You can't give people money straight up if there's a narcotics issue, because then they spend the money on narcotics. So then you give them vouchers for something. Right. And again, there'll be the people that, I think I'm pretty right. I was the first person that said there was going to be massive fraud in the PPP program. I think it was before it was even named PPP. Right. That's why I can't find it on X. Oh, I got to I don't know how did I do it last month? Last year I got an annual of Premium Plus. I don't even remember signing up for it on X. Now my subscription's up. I don't know what to do. That's expensive. 300 something bucks. Jeez. I went all in for some reason. I don't know. I don't know if anybody even sees my X, to tell you the truth. But I've been blocked. I've been shadow banned that bad before. Trying to make some tofu or mutter tofu. Yeah, I'm racist against Indian people. I guess that's what they say, right? I guarantee there's Indian people who don't like their intelligence agencies and what they do. Right. Actually, I got to clean this off here. This got messy. So I'm trying to make some food here. No, it's just weird. As soon as I want to go online and speak, I start cooking. So I put a couple chairs together. They're real nice. It's black and cherry. It's got those really nice legs I purchased. They're a little dinged. I don't know if they're going to help me replace them. I hope they just send me 4. That would be nice. Instead of me having to send 2 back or something like that. They're all 4 back. I don't know if they're going to do it or not. Money's getting tighter. Right. So. My electrolyte and mineral drinks were in the vehicle. No, needless to say, they're frozen. So now they have to melt. So now I don't have my daily drink. I usually drink at least one Gatorade type thing. Actually, I use Body Armor. It's probably healthier. It might be a cue. Use Body Armor. It's healthier. Actually. All right, maybe that's a cue for somebody. Use Body Armor. It's healthier. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.